This little device can fundamentally fix, rescue, resurrect all your old records that are beat up, scratched up, popping and clicking. How? Grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and let's talk about the Puffin from Parks Audio and its digital magic. If you're new here, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man. We have hundreds of videos, almost 600, and I really appreciate you watching. I do this for a living, so it means the world to me if you watch the video, like it, and if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button because we have hundreds of videos in the backlog, weekly live streams, really cool stuff, all related to hi-fi, home theater, headphone. Sometimes we have a little bit of fun and do some funny stuff, or at least I think it's funny. So thank you for watching. Consider liking the video and subscribing. Parks Audio makes the Puffin. Yay. The Puffin is made by Parks Audio right here, not right here, but in the Pacific Northwest. It's a small business run by a family of humans in the Pacific Northwest. They make it right over there. These range from $489 up to $639, depending upon the configuration. You can get a coaxial digital output or an optical digital output, and the price will change depending upon which version you get. $489 for the base model, $589 with the digital coaxial out, $639 with the digital optical out. Let's dive into it. You get this in the box. They've been working on this thing for 2 decades, and then if you have any issues, reach out to Shannon Parks, who is the owner. There's some tips on there. So this is not going to be a turn it on and you're done type of a product. Bunch of different sounds. This thing can sound radically different depending upon how you want it to sound. Think of this as a phono DSP EQ phono preamp magic maker. Does that make sense? Thought it would. There are about 20 plus settings on this thing, so briefly going to go over just a few of them. Some of the ones that are probably going to be used the most. To use this, you just put it in between whatever device you're using, i.e. a turntable or CD player, and then your system. So you'd run your turntable into the Puffin or your CD player into the Puffin, and then the Puffin into your main system. You can change the amplification based upon what type of product it is. So if it's a turntable, you're going to want to set the amplification to what type of cartridge you have and the levels for that type of cart. If it's a CD player, you want to put it into the right setting. Otherwise, it's going to blast your face off because there's usually significant level disparity between a CD player and a turntable. They want you to keep your volume low when you're first starting out, just to make sure that any type of level disparity isn't going to destroy your speakers and scare the cat to death. So keep the volume low. First thing in the menu is simply the volume control. Normally you want to leave this at 100% unless you're getting things dialed in initially, but you can use the Puffin as basically a preamp, and you can use it to control volume. You can also use it to mute things as well. Generally speaking though, you're going to leave the volume at 100% and control volume from your main system, preamp or integrated amp or whatever this is hooked into. The gain setting is basically whatever you're hooking up to this thing, whether it's a moving magnet, moving coil, CD player, external DAC. You want to set the gain on this thing to, well, be commensurate with the output settings from the device itself. If it's a moving magnet cartridge, you can probably stick with 40 dB. CD player, DAC, things like that, you're going to want to change the gain on here. Moving coil, you're going to want to change the gain on here. Next mode is warmth. And warmth is, well, just like it sounds. You can warm things up or cool it down. Basically kind of like a seesaw around 800 hertz or so it says. I found this to be very useful on an AC/DC Back in Black record that I have that I think just sounds really thin. And so I put a little warmth on it and it livened it up just perfectly. Conversely, if you want to cool it down, go to like -2 or -3. It's fun. You're going to be able to play around with this thing, and you can run multiple things at the same time to really dial in whatever sound signature it is that you want. Air is the next section, and well, just like it sounds, you can add a little room ambiance to your recordings. Just dial in it. Dial in however much air you want to add to your music. Easy peasy. Basically tone controls for treble. At 3K for the treble and at 300 hertz for the bass. And you can go in 1 dB steps, up or down. There's also a bass boost. It says with a corner frequency of 100 hertz, you can either turn it on or off, and it is adaptive. Whatever that means. It means it adapts. Tone controls treble, bass, 3K, 300 hertz, and then you have an adaptive bass boost at 100 hertz. High pass filter. So this is for 78s, it says. So surface noise on old LPs and 78s can be somewhat mitigated by using this high pass filter. I don't particularly have any old records that have any issues like this, but if you do, then this is probably a setting that you want to explore a little bit further with your new Puffin from Parks Audio. Also, a low pass filter. Some people call this maybe subsonic, but you can change it from 5 hertz all the way up to, looks like 400 hertz. And it's used mainly to eliminate vinyl rumble and tone arm resonances. Very interesting. Then you have the mode, and that's basically for left, right, stereo, or mono. So for whatever reason, if you only have one speaker and you want to run it mono, you certainly can right through the Puffin. It says this may lower noise by summing out phase pops and clicks. Sometimes previous groove damage to one channel or the other means that using the left or right modes may provide superior sound. You can quickly rotate through these 3 settings and determine the best setting, particularly for noisy recording. Grade function. This is really cool. So you can take a record that you have, and if you think it's not very good, you can grade it based on defects divided by the time playing. So if you play it longer, you're going to have, I guess, a more accurate grade. But it just logs all the defects and then tells you if it's an A+ all the way down to an F. I'm going to grade a record right now. So my 1973 copy of Tubular Bells, sent out by one of my fine patrons who I love dearly. C+, but it was kind of bouncing around between C+, B-, C, so totally listenable. However, it gets better because after you grade a record, you can turn on the Magic Maker. It basically gets rid of clicks and pops and stuff. And guess what? It works just fine. I also graded the Mumford & Sons record I had that I thought sounded terrible, but then I cleaned it with the Record Doctor. Then it sounded good. I put it on here, A+, baby. So it got graded as an A+. You also have an FX option, which I guess kind of imitates the sound of a tube. Okay? Or a tape. It says a benefit of tape setting is additional clipping headroom. Then you have the D-Rumble. It says D-Rumble is recommended for thinner vinyl LPs. Thinner means it doesn't have as much bass. And works best in conjunction with the low filter set to 25 hertz or higher. It only functions in stereo. Otherwise, it's bypassed. Room EQ. So if you have issues with bass in your room, you can utilize this setting to make it better. The filter itself is a narrow 6 dB cut filter, Q at 2.6. Just roll with 300 hertz or use a free octave RTA on your phone and the Puffin's FX pink noise function to find where it is located in your listening space. Most RTA apps usually have a peak search on as a default, so it couldn't be easier. Okay, so I haven't done that, but you can. It's an option. Then you have load, which is 16. Load, not the Metallica record though. It says this is the Puffin's input impedance and will almost always be left at 47K. Okay, there you go. If you need to change it, you can change it. Balance. You can change the balance between your right and your left channel. Phase. I would just leave that one alone. But if you're interested in changing the phase, you can change the phase. Then the output. You can either do analog or you can actually do optical and run this back into a DAC if you want to. It works as either 24-bit 48 kilohertz sample or 2596 sample rate. The digital out is either a factory or DIY modification. Geez, I might go with the factory version if you're interested in that. And then you have the EQ. So you can set your own EQ. Okay, so a ton of options on the Puffin. Personally, for me, we're just going to go right into the final thoughts. I think this is worth the price of admission simply to grade your records and have that magic thing on. But more importantly, every record that I have, they all have a little bit of a different flavor. The records that I had the highest expectations for and didn't sound great was Rush. I can't remember what it was. I got it from Walmart. Not all Walmart records are bad. Actually, I like a lot of Walmart records. So Rush from Walmart, AC/DC Back in Black from Walmart, Guns N' Roses Greatest Hits from Walmart, all really thin and not dynamic at all. Flat. The Puffin livened them right up. This is a really incredible product if used to its fullest extent. It's an incredible product if you just use it for the magic portion and maybe do a little bit, I'm going to warm it up, I'm going to cool it down. For me, I'm getting into the bass, the treble, the air, probably not getting into some of the phase things and stuff like that. But this is basically a way to get any vinyl record you have to sound better. If it's old, beat up, and bruised, then you can use that magic function. If you're curious about what shape your record is in, you can grade it. Highly recommended. I get that $500 kind of sounds like it's a lot. When you consider that some phono preamps alone are running that, my reference preamp is the Project Tube Box S2, I think. That's $500. You get a solid phono preamp with all this DSP functionality for less than that price. If you have a big record collection and it's stuff that's been around for a while and you may have not taken the best care of it, and you're really into vinyl, I think the Puffin, I say no-brainer a lot, but really the Puffin from Parks Audio is a no-brainer. At less than $500, you can enjoy your whole back catalog of vinyl, for the most part. Maybe it's beyond saving, but $500 is a great investment if you're really into vinyl. Even if you're not into vinyl, I still think this should be considered, because this has livened up records that I never even listened to anymore, because I just, well, this is a crappy pressing, crappy recording. I'm not going to listen to it anymore. Now I can listen to it. Don't you just love EQ? I love it. I love it. Highly recommended. I'll put the links in the description. Those are not affiliate links. Parks Audio sent this out, but I don't have an affiliate relationship with them, but you should check them out. So if you want to support the channel, sign up for Patreon. Patreon-only Zooms, Patreon-only Discord. We also have a Patreon-only Facebook group. You can also sign up for Amazon Music, Tidal Music, Rune. Links in the description. Click sign up. Even if you quit, I still get a couple of bucks. You can also use the other affiliate links in the description. If you click and you buy, I get a commission, but it doesn't cost you any more, so it's a great way to support the channel. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen to your old records that you thought you couldn't listen to anymore with the Puffin from Parks Audio, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.